Good afternoon. Today I've come to the small town or village of Orito. More specifically, I've come to the Sierra de San Pascual, which is a small mountain, large hill just on the outskirts of the town, and it's named for San Pascual or Saint Pascual. And we started the walk off parked up by the small church or sanctuary of San Pascual, which is a little tiny church built into a small kind of a cave in the side of the mountain. Today I'm going to do a little bit of walking up this hill, mountain, whatever it is. Not sure if I'm going to go all the way to the top. It's not a massive climb, so I might do. And I'm hoping to hang around and find a shot for sunset. At the moment there's a bit of cloud in the sky, and that cloud is supposed to build up later on in the afternoon. As we head towards sunset, it's supposed to get a lot heavier. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. It could go either way. The cloud could just burn off completely, in which case I guess I'll be adding to my Clear Skies project. But if not, we'll have to wait and see. We might get a decent sunset, we might get something interesting. So time to carry on and do a bit more hiking. Surprising how quickly it gets warm in the sun here, even in December. But yeah, I've had to take the fleece off already, down to the short sleeves. Part of the way up, and it has to be said the views are already spectacular. Got views across to more mountains, and if you keep on turning around, more and more, and right the way out to the sea. And if we keep on turning, we're going to be actually pointing straight at the sun, which won't be great, but just more and more views. Spectacular. Right, so I've climbed up to the summit. As I said, it's not a big mountain. It's barely more than a hill, really, I guess, but it's a bit steep in places. Definitely gets the heart going a bit. But the views are just spectacular from here. I mean, there's mountains all the way around, and then we can see the distant towns. It's really quite gorgeous all the way around. Beautiful scenery. I mean, it's not unspoilt landscape. The views here are so far reaching. There's lots of towns and even a couple of cities actually visible from here, and we can see right the way across to the sea and the coastline. So it's not like a completely unspoilt landscape, but nevertheless it's just spectacular views. The question is this a good spot to do a sunset shoot from? Or am I better off to go a bit further down where I might be able to get a better composition? I don't know. I'm going to have a little nose around and see what I think. The temperature at this time of year can be so changeable. When the sun's out, it can be really warm, and as soon as the sun goes behind a cloud, it gets really cold. I mean, not freezing cold really, but from a t-shirt to, oh, where did I put my fleece? I've decided to take a couple of shots while I'm up on the summit here, while I'm making up my mind. There's quite a bit of cloud sitting out pretty much opposite where the sun is at the moment, and I thought I'd take a shot there. I'm just waiting for the sun to break through a block of cloud behind me over there, so hopefully put some light on the scene and create some light and shadow where the cloud is over the top of the mountains over this way. I'll show you the composition in camera in a second. So I'm using this reservoir pool thing down here to create a little bit of foreground interest, and then out to the mountains beyond. As I said, it's not an unspoilt scene because there's a town in there, there's all sorts of buildings, there's a railway line running across it, but it's still quite a nice scene. So I'm just going to wait for the light to come through and see if we can get a shot. The sun's going to break through the clouds in a few seconds, I would think, so I'm going to get ready to take the shot. F11, about a 50th of a second, and now it's just a case of waiting for that sun just to break through enough to put some light on the more distant mountains, and then I think we might have a shot from here. It's not a sunset shot, it's actually quite a long way from sunset yet, and I'm still deciding whether I'm going to be up here for sunset or whether I'm going to go further back down. Right, I've made my way a fair way back down the mountain. I really didn't think I was going to find a composition for sunset up on the peak. So I come probably about halfway back down and I found a scene that looks promising. I had to be fairly quick because I kind of misjudged it a little bit, neglected to take into account the fact that the sun's going to be setting pretty much behind another mountain, so I was probably about 20 minutes out on my estimation. Nevertheless, I found a shot that I think might work, so I'll just walk you through what that looks like now. So I plan on using this tree and then this hill in the background with the trees on top, and as the sun's coming around from the side, hopefully they'll pick up some nice side lighting and should look quite pretty. There's some cloud up above, and that hopefully might even pick up some colours. Certainly it'll pick up some textures as the sun gets a bit lower. I have the camera set up with the 18 to 105 lens on. I'm at 18mm. I've got a circular polarising filter and a 2-stop soft ND grad, just to take a bit of brightness out of one side, one corner of the sky. Shooting f11 at the moment, that's about a 1/5 of a second, and again that will change as the light changes. The clouds have accumulated quite nicely over in the direction that the sun is setting, but there's a gap and the sun is actually shining through. Now it's going to drop below a mountain line in a few minutes, and that will be the critical time to get the shot, because then the hard edge of the mountain will actually take out the sun flare, the lens flare, and hopefully we should get some nice colours in the sky. So I've got set up. So I've got the tripod set up, low down again, same lens on, 18 to 105. I've taken the polarizer off and I've fitted a 3-stop ND hard graduated filter instead of the 2-stop soft, because I've got a much cleaner horizon now, so I can get away with that hard edge. I'll show you the composition. So I'm using this bush, tree, whatever it is in the foreground. And then we've got this rocky ridge that runs out, and that is actually the ridge that the little church in the cave sits on, the San Pascual. There's even a big 6-metre tall statue of the saint out on the end of that ridge. And then out in the distance we've got the mountains with the sun setting behind them, and some hopefully quite nice clouds picking up the light. Right, the sun's dropping down now. Just repositioning the filter slightly just to make sure it's not blocking out bits that I don't want it to. The sun's probably about halfway down now. Shooting at f16 and about half a second. Let's see what that gives us. We might have to bracket this even with the filter. Yeah, it's a bit overexposed. I'm going down to a third of a second. Let's try that. Yeah, a third of a second actually looks like it might work. I'm going to do a bracketed shot from 1/3 of a second and just to see how that works out. It's kind of covering the bases a little bit just in case. I'm not sure I picked the best composition for sunset. There's some lovely colours in the sky still, but there's no light on the foreground, so for me colours in the sky isn't enough. I need to get a bit of light on the foreground. You may have noticed a sudden change in location. The reason for that is that when I came to edit the video from Orito, I discovered that all of the later footage, basically pretty much everything after sunset, was faulty. It wouldn't open on the computer, it wouldn't even play back on the camera. I've got no idea why. I don't know if it was a problem with the camera, the card, or something that I did. All I know is it seems to be working okay now, but I was left with an unfinished video. So what I decided to do was just come down on the beach this morning, maybe just to get one shot, which I'll talk you through in a little while. But first, I thought I would just do a quick look back at what happened after the failure of the video back at Orito and the Sierra de San Pascual. Now, I think the last thing I said was something like, to be honest, I'm not sure I picked the best composition for sunset. So I really wanted to try to get something better, something simpler. I think the sunset composition was a bit too messy. So I went in search of something that would be cleaner, stronger shapes, a stronger composition. By this time there were some gorgeous colours and textures in the sky, and I wanted to find a way to show those off, but the sky wasn't uniformly covered with all of these gorgeous clouds. So I managed to find this tree, and by getting low down I was able to put it up against the sky, actually kind of filling in one of the areas that wasn't so colourful. I bracketed 3 shots to keep some detail in the tree as well as in the sky. Once I'd got that shot, I then made my way back down as quickly as I could to the general area of the church, or the sanctuary, the ermita I think it's called, where I thought there might be another couple of shots before the light went completely. By the time I got there, they'd actually got some lights on illuminating the tower and other parts of the church, and the sky had gone a really dark blue, but still with just a hint of pinkish colour in some of those clouds. I bracketed 3 shots to keep detail in the sky and the bricks and the church. When I looked around the corner towards the big statue of San Pascual, the sky where the sun had been setting had some gorgeous colours and textures still, and the statue itself was lit up, so it stood out really nicely against that sky. I chose to zoom in quite a bit and exclude most of the scene apart from the statue and the sky, and just a hint of the nearby mountains just at the bottom of the frame. So for this morning, I've come down onto the beach. I'm about 2 minutes walk from home, which is lovely. And I'm going to take a picture of the monument to the Fisherman, which is behind me. This big monument back there. I'll show you that a bit more clearly in a moment. At sunrise. There's almost no clouds around, so I'm aiming for a very simple composition which will hopefully make use of the strong shape of the monument and the sun as it clears the horizon. So the monument sits on the beach. It's pretty tall. It's one half of a pair, the other half being in the town itself. This is supposed to represent a lighthouse, the other part represents a boat, and it is all to do with the link between El Campello and the sea. The composition I'm aiming for, the strong shape of the monument on the right hand side of the frame, and hopefully the rising sun down probably on the left hand lower third of the frame. I have a 10 to 20 lens on, but I'm actually at 20mm, and the reason I'm using that lens is because I'm hoping to get a sun star, and this lens is actually better at capturing sun stars than my 18 to 105. So now it's just a case of waiting for the sun to come up, which is going to be about another 15 minutes. I got here a bit too early actually. Right, the sun's coming up now, clearing the horizon. I'm at f16 to try and get that sun star, and I'm bracketing the exposures 2 stops either side. Let's see what we get. Okay. That's the shot, and that's the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it despite the technical issues. Sorry about that. Hopefully it won't happen again. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then now might be a good time. If you want to give me a like, or if you want to leave some comments, that would be great. Now this video is coming out on December the 23rd, so I'm going to take this opportunity to wish you a wonderful Christmas. And until the next time, that's it for me. Bye.